There are a lot of powerful arguments for atheism. For instance, there's the argument from... No, that's garbage. Well,
Yeah.
atheists have an argument called... Gosh, that's even worse. No, that's just sad. You know, I simply can't think of any good arguments for atheism. But fortunately for us, someone who's way smarter than I am is on the case. Here's Dr. Jordan Peterson discussing arguments for atheism on Pints with Aquinas.
What do you think the best argument for atheism is?
Soaking it in, trying to think about it. I love it. I'm here for it.
I don't think there is a good argument for atheism.
See, now that's what I thought. Maybe I'm more smarter than I always thunk I was. There is no good argument for atheism.
I don't think there is a good argument for atheism. I think it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding about the nature of the world. So it's just...
Real quick, I just have to share this and shout out to David Wood for this video. Shout out to him for really just being able to break down that, and this is where he's come from. It's not like he was always a Christian. He was a professed atheist. Part of his testimony is letting him know that he was, psychopath, all this other stuff. Not saying that atheism and being a psychopath, same thing, but I'm just saying, his testimony, what he shared. So when it comes to this, he knows where he's come from and how his belief prior to what it is now, prior to know the truth, doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. I even had an atheist not too long ago comment on one of my videos that I reacted to Dr. Gary Habermas on. And in that video, he commented and said that there's zero evidence, zero facts, zero anything that proves in God. Called us imaginary friends like they love to do, sky daddy, stuff like that. He didn't say that, but imaginary friends is something that he did say. And well, I was like confused because he was commenting on a video that was talking about the minimal facts argument. The minimal facts argument. Doctoral dissertation about facts that not only Christians take, but also atheists, they take. The doctoral dissertation is about the facts that atheists actually allow. So he took those facts and then talked about the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So that's the video that he talked about, said that there's zero evidence, zero facts. But my question is, for atheists, where are your facts? Where are your evidence? Everything, from my understanding, points towards an intelligent designer, creator. If you think about fine-tuning, I love fine-tuning because it's very simple, very easy to understand. We have all these dials. We have all this understanding in the world that things are exactly how they need to be for us to live. The sun is exactly where it needs to be. Our axis is exactly tilted in the manner that needs to be tilted. The bloodstream that we have, the power, the energy that we get, gravity, all that is exactly what we need when it comes to having life on this planet. Cosmological argument. The death, burial, resurrection of Jesus Christ. So from the understanding of and there's more, I just don't necessarily know off the top of my head, or that I just know at all. But so we go with the cosmological argument, fine-tuned argument. The idea that there's a God. Then we break down the Christian belief of the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and how when it comes to all the other views of God, only the biblical God checks all the boxes. All the boxes. So we have this evidence, we have these facts that actually point towards the belief that we have and how it's true. So atheists, let me know when you're watching up to this point, what are you actually holding on to? Or is it just, because if you're basing your life off of, how smart is that really? Not me trying to be a jerk about it, me just really asking. Let's get back into it.
It's what would you say? It's an illegal chess move.
It's an illegal chess move. What, you thought you could just take the king out of the game because you're an atheist and you don't know how to mate? But there's a problem with Dr. Peterson's response. The question wasn't, are there any good arguments for atheism? Of course there aren't. The question was, what's the best argument for atheism? Even if all the arguments for a terrible, absurd position are bad arguments, you can still point to the best of the bad arguments. So, what's the best of the bad arguments for atheism?
This might just show that I don't understand you, but we'll get to it if I don't.
The best argument for atheism.
What's the best of the worst arguments?
Materialistic determinism is the best argument for atheism.
But isn't that a philosophical sort of assumption or axiom?
That's a problem.
Yeah.
The best of the bad arguments for atheism, according to Jordan Peterson, is materialistic determinism. I'm not sure what he means by materialistic determinism. That would normally be the view that what happens in the material world is determined by matter and the laws of nature. That wouldn't mean that God doesn't exist. You can be a materialistic determinist about our universe and still believe that God exists. So I'll assume that he just means materialism. Materialism, in this sense, is the position that the material world is the fundamental reality. Everything that happens can ultimately be explained in terms of matter in motion. Now, if the material world is all there obviously can't be an immaterial deity. So if we assume that materialism is true, then God doesn't exist. But as Matt pointed out, that's an assumption.
But isn't that a philosophical sort of assumption or axiom?
That's a problem.
Yeah.
If you assume at the beginning that the material world is all that exists, and you conclude that God can't exist because you've already assumed that the material world is all that exists, that's begging the question. So, the best argument for atheism would be a fallacy. But our materialistic determinist friends can find comfort in the fact that, according to their worldview, if their reasoning is fallacious, they were determined to reason fallaciously. So, atheists, it's not your fault. The universe made you like this. But suppose what we really mean when we ask, what's the best argument for atheism, is what's the most effective argument for atheism? What's the most effective argument for atheism?
While watching this video, I just got to share this because it popped in my mind. So I think when it comes to the evidence, I believe, again, the evidence points towards God of the Bible. There are atheists that come to this conclusion as well, but there's certain atheists that don't. And I think that a lot of these atheists that don't are really just trying to be too smart for their own good. The truth is plain as day, put in everybody's face. In the scriptures it says, if you don't believe that there's a creator, if you don't believe there's God, then a fool says that. So when all the evidence points towards the facts of the matter, that's not fallacious, anything like that. It's almost like, and I come from the world of chemical dependency in the addiction realm. I'm a counselor. And one of the hardest people it's been to work with, not only from my experience, but also from the experience that I have of my mentors and people that are overseers of me, is that old folks and also really intelligent people. Why? Is because there's a blueprint when it comes to getting sober. Whether you're utilizing your higher power, God, hopefully, the 12 steps, there's a blueprint. But people that are smart and intelligent, they think that they can find another way. And unfortunately, I think that's what happens with a lot of people that are atheists when it comes to how smart they are. And they try to find another way. All the evidence and all the facts and all the truth can point towards the God of the Bible, but they believe that there's another way. Going back to So because it's I got to keep searching and searching and searching until I find what it is. I could be wrong. That could be maybe even one person or a small portion of the atheist belief. I don't know. A lot of them may also just come from the fact that there's church hurt or whatever, or just seeing people. Dr. Bar Ehrman, if I'm not mistaken, became an atheist because he just can't reconcile the fact that there's evil in this world. Then God is supposed to be the God of love. So he just can't reconcile that. So there's many reasons why people can't be, but I just wanted to stop and have that thought, have that conversation, because as they were sharing about the just fact that that particular stance apparently is fallacious. It seems like a lot of the stances aren't necessarily connecting the dots. So this came to me. Let's jump back in the video.
Here, the answer isn't really an argument. It's not a fallacy. It's a manipulation tactic. Join our group and you're smart. Don't join our group and you're dumb. Atheists smart. Religious people dumb. Us smart. Them dumb. Them no smart. We smart. Them dumb. If you can convince people that they magically become the champions of some prized virtue just by joining your group and running around screaming, "Sky Daddy, Sky 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 Daddy," you're going to win a lot of converts. That's why atheism took off in the early 2000s. A bunch of gullible young people boarded the good ship Cheap Ego Boost on a one-way trip to Fantasyland. But let's invite them to Planet Reality for a moment. Falling for low-level manipulation tactics and the fallacies you'd hear about on day one of a logic class doesn't mean you're smart. Patting yourself on the back and bragging about being champions of reason and science doesn't make you champions of reason and science. Living in an online echo chamber of "we smart, they dumb" gives you absolutely no reason to think that you're smarter than anyone else. Stop boasting for a while. Close your eyes and think deeply. And you'll realize.
Yes, I'm here for it. David Wood, man, he's a GOAT.
I don't think there is a good argument for atheism.
Shout out David Wood, Jordan Peterson. Yo, so that was David Wood reacting to Jordan Peterson and his thoughts on what's the best argument or a good argument for atheism. And they both come to the same conclusion. There's not one, and the best of the worst still isn't necessarily that great. So all my atheist people that are watching, let me know what's your view. What do you really have to say on the topic? On the topics, what's going on? Don't try to branch off anything else. On the topic, what is your best argument to prove that there's no God? I'd like to hear it. But if you made it up to this point, I appreciate you so very much. You see the ticker down below. You see it. It ain't been moved. It's been there the whole time. But you know it has been moved. This particular block right here that says hit that noti bell. So if you do want to like and subscribe, hit that noti bell so you can be notified anytime that I drop with these pre-recorded reactions, live reactions, or having people come on and share their testimony. Spreading the truth, spreading the gospel, spreading the love of God is what we're doing here. Informing people who may not know, from people like David Wood, Jordan Peterson, Dr. Gary Habermas, Dr. Dan Wallace, Sam Shamoon, Guy Logic, all these people I love to react to, that I love to learn from, because it's out there. So if you haven't seen it, you can see it here. And if you want to watch this video without me talking, you can go ahead on and click in the description box down below the actual video. Appreciate you guys watching to this point. God bless y'all. I'm out.